11, just on time. Your punctuality does you well, unlike this Yeti boy I took on. He's supposed to be a butler at the H Mansion, but I catch him skiving off to another dimension when he gets testy. Never mind, I'll tell you more about that later. Listen closely to this, Agent XJ7. His name, Geraldo Pearson, age 47. A lifeline to those living in sin, Geraldo witnessed the destruction and damnation of man's folly, only to become immersed in the games he so clearly railed against. Location, Las Vegas, Nevada, USA. A date, May 2019. Father Geraldo Pearson spent his life cloistered in his church and various committee meetings. One day in 2019, he discovered that he was ignoring the command of Jesus to go out and mingle with the whores, the sinners, and the awful unsaved, the dirty of his community, and bring them to the Word. By gosh, he was on it. His faith overrode any other concerns, and he went to the one place where he was sure to see it all. The big casinos of Las Vegas. This was by no doubt a true hive of iniquity. And lo, it was! He was seated at a bar very near the Blackjack 21 tables on the main floor, mere feet from those wasting their savings and blowing their souls on the gambling tables. Whores would stumble through as well from time to time, as well as swindlers, pickpockets, and other fellows of ill repute. Father Geraldo would attempt to engage people and preach, but he was turned away time and again. No one wanted to hear that stuff. When the staff was alerted to him, he would just buy a Shirley Temple with cash at the bar, and they let him linger as long as he didn't get in the way of business. 3 hours a day he made it his business to attempt becoming a catcher in the tares, so to speak. One regrettably tragic afternoon, he sat sipping his mocktail and witnessed one of the men at the crowded table cry out, straighten a little, and topple over backwards onto the ground, seemingly dead. No one cared. The inhuman throng stepped over the body of a man clutching his heart and dove into the bets, hoping for a high hand in the heady and hot action at that table. The father rushed to call 911, and then leapt to the body to give last rites. It was a scene so appalling to the father that he went back to the bar after the paramedics arrived and ordered a real drink, a stiff belt of double Scotch single malt. And after imbibing hastily, he sauntered to the same table, now a little less busy, to give everyone a piece of his mind. By Jove, he did! Yet it did nothing to waver the resolve of those present to keep the games going and the cash flowing back and forth across the table. Padre, the young immaculate dealer said, you have to play or leave. Look, if you play, I'll let you preach right here while you conduct business. No problem. Father Geraldo was adamantly against it. I'll donate you $100, Father, a stout middle-aged man generously offered, throwing $100 of chips onto a blank space next to him. I don't think I should, Geraldo countered the offer. The dealer put down cards for the father, despite the man of the cloth standing back and not touching the table nor chips. However, when the unplayed hand of Geraldo went up against the house, he won! Geraldo now had $200 to play on the table. Yet he still refused. The stout man arranged the chips, and the dealer dealt again. And again, the unclaimed hand of Father Geraldo Pearson won. He now had $300. Another refusal. The stout man put in all the chips. The dealer dealt. Another win! Father Geraldo's cold seat was now $600 and winning hot. That was when the father warmed and took a seat. Okay, Geraldo said. I'll play with you only until these $500 are gone. You, sir, take back your initial 100, please. This money is the Lord's money, and I will preach as long as it lasts in this game. And so began an endless night of 21, and preaching. At first the priest put his holy book on the table, but they made him remove it. Wincing, the dealer said it could be a prop, an aid to cheating, and must be removed. So Father Pearson sat on his Bible. The money came and went, with the father watching many come, lose everything, and go. Geraldo, luck on his side, would find his money go down to 100 at times, and then inflate to thousands at other times. He didn't care so much for the money. He delivered the word with every breath he could muster. At the end of the night, the fortuitous father was far ahead. It was 3 p.m., and he decided to retire to get to his masses in the morning. In his bulging pocket was a stash of chips that cashed out at over $3,000. 1,000 of that rewarding round went into the collection basket next morning. The rest was used to allow Father Pearson to preach at the tables once more the next night. It was a rousing and addicting affair. Again, the father stayed 4 hours and went from $2,000 to $4,000 in hand. And so it went, and so it went, for several weeks. The original fund never diminished to zero. It swelled, and money was put into the church every morning from the glorious gains. In time, the father left behind his Bible and continued solo. The act of gambling was so pleasurable to the priest that he proudly pinned all proceedings on Providence. Others would come and go, many losing. The father would tell them that they didn't have God behind them. Eventually, though, the father found his faith fading with his fortunes. The kitty he had amassed dwindled slowly every night to $2,000. $1,000, $800, $500, $400, and eventually to zero. At that moment, where he hit bottom, the father sat morosely at the table, staring at the emptiness before him. The dealer, an amiable fellow the priest grew familiar with, silently passed over the poor padre. After a couple hands, the dealer told the father he had to stand and go from the table to allow others to sit. Despite obeying the command of the dealer, it was mere hands later, and the father jumped back into an open seat. Geraldo Pearson saw the table making money by leaps and bounds, while he was divorced from their play. $100 of his own money came down on the felt. Once again, the father was back, and he was on fire. His money multiplied again, growing over hours to thousands. And once again, he played for many days before his stash had diminished to a mere 100 once more. And once again, it all vanished in failed bets. So he took out more cash of his own and began playing and preaching. But within weeks, he had lost so much money that he was personally broke. Oh! Finally, on one frightfully fated day, Father Geraldo took all the cash from his parish's treasury and went to the tables to regain his savings. Yet it took almost no time in one night before thousands of dollars were taken back by the house, and the father began drinking constantly to still his nerves and lower his blood pressure. When his last dollar disappeared, he realized he was done. He would be defrocked, cast from the church, and become a penniless man without parish or position. It was too much for the frustrated father. Clawing the felt table, he stood up and screamed at the dealer and the table. God has forsaken me! He took my faith and gave me nothing. All I wanted was to do his will. He did nothing to stop me. Where is God? Where? And suddenly he clutched his chest, his blood pressure building to a bursting point. The man of God collapsed to the floor and released his last breath. No one cared. More people rushed to the table, stepping over him, stepping on him, to get in on the hot action of that table in Sin City. Father Geraldo perished there, without aid of God nor man that night. If he could only go beyond the velvet ropes and see the dealers, he would understand the snares set for him. Behind the barriers, the illusion was disbanded, and a person could see the dealers for what they were. Hideous gorgons of wrinkled crimson flesh, snake-like yellow eyes, and lizard-like scales.
Got another one!
The dealer from Geraldo's table shouted to his neighbor dealing the next table. Other dealers chuckled a little while doling out the cards.
Good job, Abigail!
The nearest dealer cheered on Geraldo's dealer.
Our boss will have fun with that one.
They all chittered in an alien language for a few seconds and went back to their earthbound duties.
Like and subscribe before I die! And ring the little bell or you will surely go to hell.
Oh, we're telling spooky stories. This is not a spooky story. Oh, there's no way on the couch I can say.
Depends how you look at it. It is kind of spooky.
I guess so.
Wait, that's it? That's the end of the story?